Have you ever stood in front of a grill, holding hot dogs in one hand and buns in the other, and felt like something was off? You count the sausages, then you count the buns. You count again, just to be sure. 8 buns, 10 hot dogs. Somehow, every single time, the numbers refuse to line up. You buy 1 pack of hot dogs and 1 pack of buns thinking it will be simple, and yet you always end up with leftovers. 2 lonely hot dogs with nowhere to go, or 2 empty buns waiting for something that never comes. It happens so often that most of us stop questioning it. We just accept it as part of cooking out. But here's the strange part. This isn't random, it isn't a mistake, and it definitely isn't an accident. This small frustration is the result of decisions made decades ago by factories, engineers, and planners who were solving very different problems than the ones you face at your backyard barbecue. And once you see why it happened, you'll never look at hot dogs the same way again. If you enjoy uncovering the hidden logic behind everyday things, take a second to like the video and subscribe. Because today, we're uncovering the surprisingly deep story behind why hot dogs and buns never seem to match. To understand this odd pairing, we have to go back more than a century. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, hot dogs were just beginning to take off in the United States. German immigrants brought sausages inspired by frankfurters and wieners, foods that were already common in Europe. At first, hot dogs weren't a standardized product. They were sold by street vendors at fairs, parks, and baseball games. The goal wasn't precision, it was convenience. Vendors wanted something cheap, warm, and easy to eat while standing or walking. So, sausages were placed into whatever bread was available. There were no official sizes, no fixed counts, just food being sold as quickly as possible. Over time, demand grew. Bakeries began making longer rolls specifically for sausages. Meat companies began producing hot dogs in larger quantities. But here's the key detail most people miss. These two industries grew separately. Bakeries optimized for baking. Meat processors optimized for weight and preservation. They weren't coordinating. They weren't trying to match each other. They were solving their own problems in isolation. And that separation is exactly where the mismatch begins. When hot dogs started being sold in grocery stores instead of just from carts, meat processors needed a standard, not a visual one, a measurable one. So they turned to weight. For much of the 20th century, meat in the United States was sold by the pound. Customers understood it. Stores were set up for it. Regulations were written around it. A single hot dog was designed to weigh about 1.6 ounces. Multiply that by 10 and you get 16 ounces. Exactly 1 pound. 10 hot dogs wasn't a random number. It was the cleanest way to sell 1 pound of meat. That package size fit perfectly into existing machines, storage systems, and pricing models. Once factories were built to produce and wrap hot dogs 10 at a time, the system locked itself in place. Changing it later would mean replacing equipment, retraining staff, and increasing costs. So the 10-pack stayed. Meanwhile, buns followed a completely different logic. Bakeries don't think in pounds. They think in space. Ovens, trays, racks, and heat flow. Commercial baking trays are designed to hold a specific number of rolls while allowing them to rise and bake evenly. And for hot dog buns, that number turned out to be 8. 8 buns fit neatly in standard pans. They bake evenly. They cool evenly. They're easy to slice and package as a group. Once baked, buns are almost always packaged in the same groups they were cooked in. So 8 became the standard. Just like with hot dogs, once bakeries invested in equipment designed around that number, changing it stopped making sense. And without anyone ever planning it, the mismatch became permanent. But if this has been annoying people for decades, why didn't anyone fix it? That's where the story gets even more interesting. At this point, it seems obvious. Hot dogs come in packs of 10 because of weight. Buns come in packs of 8 because of baking trays. So why hasn't anyone fixed it? The short answer is money. The longer answer is momentum. Both meat processors and bakeries operate on extremely thin margins. Their factories are optimized down to the smallest detail. Machines are calibrated. Supply chains are tuned. Packaging lines are synchronized. Changing the number of items in a package isn't as simple as deciding to do it differently. It means redesigning equipment, retooling factories, adjusting shipping, renegotiating contracts, and raising prices, all to solve a problem that, while annoying, isn't painful enough. Most people adapt. They buy an extra pack. They freeze leftovers. They reuse buns for sandwiches. They grill fewer hot dogs than planned. And because sales haven't suffered in any meaningful way, there's no strong pressure to change. In fact, some economists argue the mismatch might actually increase sales. If you need 2 packs of buns for 1 pack of hot dogs, or vice versa, you're buying more than you intended. From a business perspective, the system works. That's why it survived. Over the years, a few companies have tried to fix the problem. Some brands released hot dogs in packs of 8. Others sold buns in packs of 10. There were even attempts to redesign hot dogs themselves, making them longer to match oversized buns. But these products almost always cost more. They take up limited shelf space. And when customers see 2 nearly identical options, they usually choose the cheaper one. So the fixed versions stay niche. The old standard stays dominant. This small mismatch is actually a perfect example of how modern manufacturing really works. Industries don't optimize for perfect harmony. They optimize for stability. Once a system is good enough, once it's profitable and predictable, it becomes incredibly hard to change, even when the inconvenience is obvious. That's why so many things in our daily lives feel slightly illogical. Keyboard layouts, paper sizes, electrical plugs, measurement systems. They weren't designed to be perfect. They were designed to work at a specific moment in history. And once they worked, they stuck. The hot dog and bun problem isn't about food at all. It's about how decisions echo forward in time. A choice made to sell meat by the pound. A decision to bake bread 8 at a time. 2 industries solving separate problems. And a mismatch that quietly followed us into the modern backyard barbecue. So the next time you're standing at a grill, holding 2 extra hot dogs or 2 empty buns, remember what you're really seeing. You're seeing history. You're seeing engineering. You're seeing economics. All hiding inside something that feels trivial. Because most of the world around us isn't shaped by careful planning. It's shaped by habits that worked once and never stopped. And that's why the simplest frustrations often have the deepest backstories. If this made you see something ordinary in a new way, leave a like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's grilled hot dogs before. Because sometimes the simplest things hide the most misunderstood truths.